the In This League Podcast Network.
Welcome in, friends. This is Bet This League on In This League. That's Bogman. I'm Welsh. It's the Friday edition of the Fantasy Football Podcast where we are betting all around the league. We've got exploitable matchups. We're taking a look at where the money is going, DFS plays, and our top 10 bets of the week. You guys can check out the video version of this show if you'd like, though all you're doing is looking at our dumb faces. I have like an allergy attack, so I've got like red eyes. So if you want to see the red eyes, not just from the crying of gambling from last week or anything like that, you can do that. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/inthisleague, or you can go to inthisleague.com, and that'll take you to our Patreon where you can get my weekly prop sheet. You can get Bogman's ranks, and you can get tons and tons more. All you got to do is go to inthisleague.com and sign up today. It's our Patreon. You're supporting us. We've got a betting room. We've got live streams. We got tons and tons of stuff, and we appreciate when you do so. Bet This League, Bogman. You have 5 exploitable matchups for this wonderful week. Do pray tell, my friend.
I mean, Denver defensive line versus Pittsburgh O-line. The Steelers are minus on both pass blocking and run blocking, according to PFF. This is the best matchup for a defensive line against an offensive line this week. Denver also is tied for the league lead in pressure percentage at 35%. This game might get ugly for Pittsburgh very quickly if they do not improve that offensive line this week, and I don't see where it's going to come from. So, what
do you want to play on this one?
I want to play Denver. I want to play Denver.
You want to play Denver? Okay, so from a betting perspective, you want to play Denver, which this has been like an even game pick that's going on. I believe the
last time I saw, I think it was 39.5 was the under, and then it had moved from the Steelers -1 to a straight pick the last time I saw it.
Yeah, not great. So from that overall perspective, you're playing Denver and wherever you can. Maybe
I'm not going to go with the under.
No,
it's too low. Like I mean, if the Steelers offensive line plays to this number, which I don't think it will be that bad, but if it plays to this number, they won't score at all, and Denver might get all of this over by themselves. Like it might be a 42-7, 35-7, something like that. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. Pittsburgh can improve, but it looks like it's one of the bigger mismatches on paper of the week. The front four for Denver versus the Steelers offensive line.
And an interesting note too, Cortland Sutton is given an average grade on PFF as far as wide receiver versus cornerback matchup. All the Steeler wide receivers are under the below average to poor. Juju is given poor.
That's because of Ben. I don't think that has anything to do with matchup. I think that has to do a lot with Ben.
I'm just passing along. It says wide receiver cornerback matchup, and all the Steelers, no Steeler gets into the average territory. So
Roethlisberger's the lowest rated starter on PFF.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your exploitable matchup all across the board. Is take advantage of Pittsburgh is really what it is.
Just start with my misery. A couple of good matchups for cornerbacks, of course. Devontae Adams versus Eli Manning or Trey Waynes, whoever's covering him from Cincinnati. No Awuzie. Jesse Bates may double him, but is Jesse Bates even 100%? Don't know. Your boy Debo, the Welsh, versus Marco Wilson, the rookie, who is playing 100% of the snaps right now. We love that matchup. Love it.
Sir.
Byron Murphy is also banged up, so it's probably going to be a lot of Marco on Debo. So then, Thielen, Jefferson, KJ Osborne, whoever the Minnesota Vikings are running out at wide receiver versus Awarrior, Parker, and Price for Detroit. It's bad. And one that I really love, AB against potentially Justin Coleman, who is having a rough year so far from Miami. Played a little better last week, but been rough so far. And if you're not good, AB will put a double move on you and torch you. So I think AB is going to have a pretty
exploitable wide receivers on cornerbacks. I like it for number 2. What's number 3?
Number 3 is the Cleveland running backs versus the Chargers. The Chargers are 30th in the NFL, 5.3 yards per game. We know that, Baker Mayfield's coming in with this torn labrum, right? So I think these guys are going to go off. Don't know if I would play the Nick Chubb over, but DFS I like. I like the Kareem Hunt over. I think it was 47.5.
We might talk about that in just a little bit, as a matter of fact.
All right. So, but DFS plays are both really solid. I mean, you obviously have to pay up for Chubb, but I think that this is a great matchup for them this week. Moving on, Damian Harris just getting 1,000 carries against Houston because I expect New England to be up early. I expect a lot of punts, a lot of good field position for New England. I expect them to put up a bunch of points.
It's going to be prison rules. Prison rules. Someone's getting their shit pushed in. That's how. That's
100%. This is an absolute ass stomping.
And we know which side this is going to go. We know which side this is going to go to.
Yeah, exactly. So I expect Damian Harris. Look, they completely abandoned the run last week when they got down, which is just a new thing in the NFL. Teams just, all right, we're losing, so fuck it. We're going to pass as much as we possibly can.
It's pretty incredible, by the way. I just want to point out, it is like Madden. The NFL has turned into Madden. It's like, oh, I can't run on first down. I'll never run again. I'll just throw the ball.
100%. So, look, I think we're going to go the opposite way this time. And since they abandoned the pass, they abandoned the run completely last week. If they're winning, they're just going to run. It's Belichick. So I expect Damian Harris to see a gigantic workload here.
I'd also say if Ramondre,
he needs to prove himself too.
If Ramondre again is deactive, that's even more where Damian Harris is getting, I would put the over under at 24.5 carries.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say he might get 40 carries. It's just going to be a ridiculous amount. And then look, my favorite matchup of the year, every single time it happens. I love it when it's on a Thursday night because it gives me something to look forward to. But fucking Derrick Henry running over Jacksonville Jaguars defenders is one of the best things to watch in the NFL.
Pretty cool.
It's so much fun. And look, Jacksonville is going to try to stop him. They can't, right? When he gets rolling downhill, nobody can stop him. The effort won't be there. They're already mad at their coach. There's stuff going on in the locker room. It's a joke right now in Jacksonville. Derrick Henry is going to beat these dudes up. So I expect look, he's super expensive in DFS, but that will make him less owned than he would have been should he have been a better price. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and there's lots of great sites. We've said before, we are talking where we're at. We're talking with you. We are not, we're not like the hardcore guys. We don't have all the crazy algorithms that some of these sites do. So go use them. We are aggregators of what we see around the internet, what we like in our experience in the NFL. And you can take it or leave it, or you can just be here to hear uncensored cuss words, whatever you want. But you could set an optimizer, Derrick Henry, and see what you got, and see what the lineups put together if you want. Derrick Henry is totally one of those must type play guys. I mean, frankly, you're kind of laying it out, Boggs. You might want in our DFS contest, which, by the way, we have a weekly DFS contest on our Patreon. We do it over on DK because Bogman is in Texas and can't play on FanDuel. But we do a weekly contest. You can come and take our monies if you would like. And Bogman, I would say in your DFS contest that people can sign up inthisleague.com on Patreon and they can join in. Derrick Henry, Damian Harris might be your running back stack this week.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good stack, man. I don't know if I can afford everything I want with Derrick Henry, but it's a pretty damn good stack. He is very, very expensive. You know what? I think my favorite thing is just to watch him do it against Jacksonville because it's just, there are some tackles where you just see guys just give up on the tackle. They'll go in real hard. They'll get run over. The next time they go in, they're grabbing an arm, they're grabbing a leg. They ain't going in at full speed.
And how hard
anymore.
is this team playing at this point? It's just been a joke. It's maybe a played out narrative or something like that. I'm not going to really sit and argue with anybody, but how hard is this team playing with all the distractions and the chaos? You have a rookie quarterback. You have not really a definitive running game that's going on. You've got an injured receiver. I'm still shocked. I cannot get over it. And it's obviously just something, that we're missing here, that this line isn't bigger, and it has to just be tied to the wide receiver situation in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is 1-3 against the spread this year, 1-3 on over-unders. Tennessee is not that much better, but they are 500 on both sides of that against the spread and over-unders. If you just get one of those wide receivers back, I don't care this is in Jacksonville. This has got to go on Tennessee's side. Probably going to show up on the top bets, the top 10 bets here in just a tiny bit. So exploitable matchups. I like it, Bogman. You got a little bit of everything. Take advantage of the Steelers. You got your wide receiver, cornerback advantages, running backs for Cleveland, and then, going with your theme, Damian Harris and Derrick Henry. Lot to play with there, Boggs. I like it very much. Coming up, we are going to talk about where the money is being laid. We're not going to give you exact numbers because there are sites that you got to pay for that, but we are going to give you what the highest percentage is looking like, what the top ones are if you wanted to play where the cash is going. Plus, we've got our top bets. We'll tell you how we did last week, and our favorite DFS plays, which we had some good ones last week. So stick around right here on Bet This League.
The In This League Podcast Network.
Money, 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 money. This is not like last week. Holy cow. You said it best. We were talking off air. A lot of the casual bettors are flaming out. They're flaming out. Bye-bye. They are going away. The lines are getting tougher. Things are being known a whole lot more. And the money, it looks like it's spread around so much so last week. We did a sole focus, and this is really where I wanted this to be. We had a sole focus on where 90% or more of the money was being laid. And we probably should track it, by the way. I should have taken last week's and track where that was and what the end result was. But there were 6 different lines between the spread and the over-under that had 90% of the money on it. This week, there is one that has 90%. So we are going to.
I'm telling you, it's those casual bettors. They last for the first month of the season, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then they have lost all their money. They've exhausted all those free bets and all that stuff, and they are gone. So if you're a new bettor and you're still around, you're doing better than 90%. So
I mean, that's impressive. We've got 5, but we kept it to 70%. So the number one is shocker. Tennessee minus 4.5, which I think
nobody believes in the Jags.
Which, by the way, I want to point out on DK, you can get it at 4. When we're recording this late Thursday night, you're getting this Friday. It is minus 4 right now. 90% of the cash right now is lying on 4.5 in favor of Tennessee. I gave an exact number. I shouldn't have done that, but over 90%. So I won't do that for the rest, but over 90%.
That's an old number too. By the time people are listening to this, it has changed.
It'll have adjusted. And maybe there's going to be a couple more as some of these lines adjust, but at this moment right now, over 90%. The only game with 90% of the money is going on Tennessee minus 4.5, and on DK you can get it at $4.
It's already come down a little bit.
So really under,
but no, no, it hasn't.
Well,
moved from 91 to 90.
I was gonna say, I wonder what number we could play with here.
But I mean, dude, I looked it up 3 hours ago, so that's some money moving around there. So.
I don't know I don't know how I could lie any of that. Like, I guess you want to give them the 3 points, you want to give them the field goal at home, but Jacksonville just look bad. I mean, I can appreciate that they're getting James Robinson.
Well, this is one where the casuals and the money are all on Tennessee, right? It's nobody is buying the Jags. So because it's 87% of bets. I mean, that number's public. 87% of physical bets are on Tennessee, 90% of the money. So there's a ton that have a 30% switch on betting percentage versus money percentage, right? Because there's a lot of small bets coming in on these teams. That's where the casual bettors are and stuff like that. But man, there's a lot of money and a lot of bets on Tennessee.
Making some sense. Might get myself involved. Now, there's only one other game that is over 80%, and that money is lying on the New York Football Giants minus 7. Boggs. Now, the Giants are going in against Dallas, and a couple things. On DK, this line is not 7. This line is now 6.5. So the money is obviously adjusting.
It's coming towards the Giants.
It is. And also, the Cowboys, 4-0 against the spread. They're the only team in the NFL 4-0 against the spread, and everybody is calling the bluff. This is in Dallas. The Giants have played a lot better, for sure. I mean, Daniel Jones has been effective. Saquon Barkley is looking good again. Dallas's defense, little wonky, and over 80% of the money is coming in on the Giants, which has adjusted the line, Boggs.
So I'm looking at it now, and I must have had this number flipped, and it's actually on the Cowboys.
Oh, okay. Well, on the inverse
or something. I could have
did it completely flip?
Dude, I think it completely flipped.
Wow.
Because it's higher than that number that we have on the Cowboys side now. So I think someone came in laid a fat bet on it.
But let me ask you this.
A bunch of money.
Is that line with the new percentage 6.5 like I'm seeing, or still 7?
It says 7.5 on mine, but I think that's what that's the, I think that's what it says. But this game also has, I believe, the second most bets on it.
See, that's what didn't make sense. I mean, I was trying to like lay whatever groundwork. This is that.
Here's something that's funny too. By the way, if you just want to see how much these numbers move, looking just at this thing that I pay for, 67,000 bets on Thursday Night Football, right? Total.
Yeah.
That's what they track. All the different sites and all that stuff. That's what they track. Nothing has more than 17,000 for the weekend yet. So you're gonna get a lot of last minute bettors.
Sure.
That's going to push the line a bunch and all that stuff. So I think just someone came with a gigantic bet on the Cowboys and reversed it, because I remember seeing the whole week the Giants were up in this percentage, and now it flipped to Dallas.
Well, I told you, I mean, the part that stood out to me is the Cowboys are 4-0 against the spread this year.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I like the Giants in it, trying to lay the groundwork of where that may be going. But that one was an oddity to me, and I think you could hear it in my voice. So it's interesting to hear that it did completely flip. I think I would go a little bit more on that side, though I'm not really sure I'd want to touch this on either end. I mean, if I did, the Cowboys 4-0, their offense has been working well, but I'm a little bit worried about CeeDee Lamb this week getting shut down, and this might be a heavy ground and pound game. What's the over-under on that game? That's, let me look here.
That's a high one. 56, something like that.
I don't know. I might even prefer to maybe take the under a little bit if the game gets on the ground, if that's what ends up happening. But you also see a lot of optimizers like Dak Prescott this week, so that one is one that has completely flipped.
52.5 is what I see.
52.5. Yeah, I think that's right. The other three that have got significant money, and you tell me, because it sounds like things just since pre-show and
they're all in the 70s here.
Okay. We have 3 others that have over 70% of the money lying on it, and this is nothing like last week, like we said. You've got I'm gonna we'll just go real quick on them. Las Vegas -5.5 has got the higher of the over 70% number, which Las Vegas versus the Chicago Bears, Boggs.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Vegas in this game. I think the more I think about it, the less confidence I have, but I think this number makes a ton of sense. Rookie quarterback in Justin Fields hasn't looked great so far. Vegas kind of desperate for a win, coming off getting embarrassed by the Chargers. So I understand where we're at in this game. It's all on Justin Fields. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm with him, and there's a couple of these that are gonna be really interesting as the lines adjust. I kind of like Vegas in this one. I don't know how hard I would want to go in on this. Tennessee is the one I would want to go hard in on. I like Vegas. I'd like to go in on Vegas on this one. This other one is really interesting to me. The middle of the 70s is Philly +3.5.
A double check. That's still Philly.
Okay, because I mean, pull the curtain back. I like Carolina. Now I like Carolina, not against the spread, which I'll tell you about in the top bets here. And the line has already moved to 3 on DK, if it was any different. I wonder if it's a field goal game that people are considering, or, are you getting bets on the money line on Philly? Because I like Carolina in this game. I think Carolina's defense is better. They're going to get Christian McCaffrey back in some capacity. I still, regardless of what Jalen Hurts and the Eagles do in the second half of games, I still just don't like the creativeness of their offense. Their running game is going to go away. And if you put it all in the air, that's where the Eagles can struggle, especially against a solid defense, which I do think Carolina has, even though they've had some cornerback issues. So I have to assume this is people trying to play for the field goal, and this money is going to flip because, like I said, DK, it's already at 3. And that's my only assumption, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a seasoned bettor. I like Carolina on this.
I like Philly in this. I don't love this game either way. So, but this is why I like Philly, is because I don't know who has Carolina really beat. They played one hard team against Dallas and got stomped. It was not close. It's not nearly as close as the final score was. Carolina scored a little bit late. So they played the Jets. I think they played Jacksonville, right? And I can't remember who the other one was, but San Francisco, and they lost 17-11. They were in that game with the Niners. So, I think that Carolina, or that was Philly, I'm sorry, but Carolina hasn't beat anyone impressive. Philly's not impressive, but they played with some teams. Not Dallas. Sure. Dallas, one of the best teams. I think
played against not great defenses as well.
I think this one could come down to a field goal. So the hook on most of it is really what gets me there.
And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. That the 3.5, and that's what I think the big play is. And you're seeing the line move. Where I think I have a little bit of a different bet, and as I had said,
this is one I did a spot for betting pros with Dan Harris. This is one of his favorites. He likes Philly.
Yeah, so. and I'm on the opposite end. I would say I said this on the ITL Fantasy Football podcast. The one thing representative to me that Carolina has is they're a lot more in line with the teams that have made the Philadelphia Eagles struggle, like the 49ers. Stronger defense with more. A little bit more ground and pound on the game with one playmaking receiver. It's the exact same. I mean, they're almost team for team, and they scored 11 points. The Philadelphia Eagles did that. I think Carolina's in a better spot on this. So but that's where the money lies. And the final one, Bogman, Pittsburgh -1.5. You just talked about the exploitable matchup. What are people falling in? It's, by the way, the line is 1 on DraftKings. I'm guessing 1.5 maybe on FanDuel or MGM or whatever it is. But I mean, we just talked about you exploiting them, and people are taking the home team Steelers. I thought if you told me the Steelers were involved in one of the highest bets, I would have said it's the over. Even though the Steelers are like, I think 0-4 on the over, I would have thought people were betting on the over, not the win.
It's too many Steelers fans. So, I mean,
you think Steelers fans are jumping in on this?
Yeah, 100%, dude. And it's too many people not ready to look at Pittsburgh and go, this team's just not that good, right? Yeah. So, I don't think they're horrific. I don't think they have Jets level of ineptitude as far as drafting for the past 10 years. But if you don't have a good offensive line and you don't have a good quarterback, you don't have a good team. It doesn't matter how good the defense is.
I mean, you guys would be better. You should trade for Geno Smith tomorrow. Get Geno in there.
Look, Ben is going to play and start for the Steelers until he retires. And look,
which hopefully is in week 6.
Took the team to 3 Super Bowls. So look, you just let him play out, right? So, but next year, Ben can't be the quarterback of this team. No. You have to move on and take some. I'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo, right? So you guys are going to be done with him. I'll take him.
Have him.
You
take him tomorrow.
I'll take him tomorrow. I mean, I think he'd be better than Ben right now. So it's rough watching him out there. I hope he can turn it around, but he is banged up. They're knocking the shit out of him back there, dude.
I wish we would have tracked the money last week to see how it did. I think that would be a good exercise.
I can actually look, I think, at that.
Because we deleted it from the show sheet, though.
Yeah, we deleted it from the sheet, but I'm pretty sure on this thing I can look here. So let me.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Well, just because also I wonder if we want to start playing a fade the public.
66% of 60% of the money was on the Steelers last week, and they got stomped.
Oh, I didn't. Okay,
against Green Bay.
I meant us. I meant like we had the 6 teams that had the 90% of the money. I'd love to track the high money ones we talk about and how it ends up.
Well, I can look at all those too. So,
but we deleted that from the sheet.
Yeah,
I don't even know who they were. So we have to do it for this week, just because I look at this and maybe it's some of my thought process here. Like I'm fading a decent amount of it. Like I like Tennessee, I like Dallas because we flipped it to Dallas, but Vegas, Philly, Pittsburgh, I'm fading those 2 where the money is. And those, by the way, I'm fading
money.
I'm fading the 70% ones. I like the 80 and the 90% one. I just realized I'm doing that.
Do we do them all? Is that it?
That's it. That's where all the money is sitting. Top bets for the week. And then at the end, we'll do some DFS plays. Top bets last week, I was 5-5. So didn't win anybody money. I was 50-50. Bogman was 6-4. So very, very nice, Bogman. You can take that win in as our first jump into the top 10 bets of the week. So as our resident winner here at Mr. 6-4, start us off here. We're going to go one by one, 10 bets. They can be props. They can be game plays, whatever it is. These are our 10 favorite bets of the week.
My favorite bet of the week, New England and Houston over 39.5. Look, I think New England gets the majority of this, if not all of it, on their own. Houston's offense is rough. Belichick is going to scheme against a rookie quarterback and absolutely demolish them. We're thinking 3 and outs. We're thinking maybe some block punts. We're thinking short fields. We're thinking this defense gives up in the 4th quarter. 35-7 at least. I feel like this game is going to be, which plays to the over only by 3 points, but you get a defensive touchdown in there for New England as well. Or, if Houston kind of looks okay and scores a couple touchdowns, 21-20 also gets us to our over. So let's go. That's how I see this playing out, and I love the over in this game.
I've got a top prop sheet that I do, and I tier them into 3 different ranges. Now, maybe it's a little bit, I don't know, shitty or whatever, but I'm saying my top 10 bets here. I'm not giving you all of my 5 top tier props, which might be a little bit shitty, but I have some other ones. But I am going to give you one, and it's my favorite of the week, and it's Zach Moss rushing yards. Now, I will tell you, I got it early in the week. So one thing, if you're on Patreon and you get to follow the sheet, you can just save the link and you can pick it up and you can see as I make adjustments. I got Zach Moss earlier in the week rushing yards at 31.5 on DraftKings, which is nice. I just jumped up to 37.5. I still don't really care because they're up against Kansas City. Now, Zach Moss, to be fair, didn't play in the first game. The second game against Miami only had 8 carries for 26 yards. But in the last 2 games against Washington and Houston, he's had double-digit carries, and he's hit 60 yards in each of those games, averaging actually literally 4.5 yards per carry. So if you get 10 carries from him, you're golden, Jerry. Kansas City is giving up the 3rd most rushing yards to running backs. So still, even though it's 6 more yards, give me Zach Moss rushing yards prop over on DK, and I believe you can check all the sites and you can check.
Dude, the Bills pass the ball so much that this already bad rushing defense is probably not going to be prepping for the run that much. They're going to be trying to prepare for Josh Allen passes. So I think this is a great one.
And unless I would say this as well, I don't like the over in this game. So I like the under. And if you get that strong Buffalo defense holding down Kansas City a little bit and Buffalo happens to get up, they're going to be running the ball. And you're getting it minus 120. And maybe you'll get it better in another spot. So regardless of it going up, that's my number 1 bet on the week.
For me, my second is Minnesota minus 9.5 versus Detroit. I liked it way better when it was 7.5, but I still like Minnesota at 9.5 against Detroit. Detroit is banged up. They were crappy to begin with, but they are hurting right now. They have they lost Okwara for the year. Penei Sewell didn't practice on Thursday. Not looking great for him to play this game. He is very questionable. And even if he plays, Robert Quinn torched him last week. Donnell Hunter, way better than Robert Quinn. So they're going to have to at least add TJ Hawkinson over that side to help chip. Like this is a bad, rough game for Minnesota or for Detroit. I think Minnesota's pissed off after losing last week, 14-7 at home. This is in Minnesota. I think this is an absolute drumming. You get Thielen and Jefferson against those crappy corners as well. This is a beating for Minnesota against Detroit. Detroit is going to be exactly who we thought they were going to be starting last week and moving on to this week as well.
Number 2, I've kind of gone down this well before, and I will tell you, I mean, he hasn't gone nuts in this range, but I really like the matchup. I'm going to take the Michael Carter reception prop this week, which is at 1.5. So I need 2 receptions. He's 50-50 on it this year. He's hit 2. He has never had more than 2 receptions. He's had 1, 2, 2, and then 1 last week against Tennessee, but they got the Atlanta Falcons, and the Atlanta Falcons defense is abysmal. You're also going across the pond. There's a lot of weirdness in there. Michael Carter seems to have been the guy. And I complained about it, and I'm hoping the change is in play. I complained about it a couple weeks ago when I didn't hit this prop where they kept running Ty Johnson in this ridiculous just, out and in and throwing it to him, and they wouldn't throw it to Michael Carter. But I'm going to take this one, especially against Atlanta. 1.5 receptions. It's like 125, minus 125 on DK.
You know what the best part about that one is you don't have to sit there and watch it happen. You just get to wake up and see if it has happened.
I'm not, because I'm not getting up at 6 in the morning. I'm going to just wake up and I'm going to look and I'm going to be like, oh, look, I hit it or I didn't. I don't have to sit there and go, this fucking Ty Johnson, what the hell? What the hell, man? Like,
didn't get that one. That's all you get. So I'm going to stick with you in this same game. And I'm going to go with a little bit of an over on the Jets offense too. It's Zach Wilson rushing yards at 9.5. He hasn't been running the ball a bunch quite yet. They're trying to keep him in the pocket and keep him calm and all that stuff. but he had 19 yards against New England. Zach Wilson would run a bunch in college, also hurt a bunch in college. So it's not something I want him doing a ton, but this defense loses contain all the time in Atlanta. So I think he can easily get 9.5 yards. I don't think that should be an issue for him. And I love this over. So give me Zach Wilson and some rushing yards. We're on the Jets. Let's go Jets. Jets.
Yeah, it's interesting. He hasn't done it, but he has had 3 carries each in 2 of the last 3 games, New England and Tennessee. This is, I'd also say, I mean, Tennessee has been like wonky or whatever, but yeah, Denver, New England, and Carolina his first 3 games. Those are not easy matchups.
Right.
And
Atlanta is.
And then Tennessee, he had 3 carries, but he did go for negative yards on this. You now go against Atlanta. I kind of like where you're going. I think it's a little bit of a risky play, but I kind of dig this one because
if he gets any rhythm, they're going to start opening up. The defense is going to start drifting back and opening up a little bit, and he'll find a lane and run.
Here's what we need. One drive. He goes, dump off to Michael Carter. Dump off to Michael Carter. Play action, runs for 11 yards, maybe 15. Let's give you a cushion, and then we're golden. We're beautiful.
I was worried about your Gerald Henderson one tonight because it was right at 65. I'm like, they're going to screw him out of this. And then Henderson ripped off like a 12-yard gain. I'm like, no need for sack corrections.
Oh, well, no, yeah. Well, we had it. I mean, Bogman knows I was in not a good mood because Gerald Henderson was number 1. He was number 1 on my prop sheet in tier 1. You can go and look at it. It's been there the whole time. Number 1 on there. It was 64.5 yards. I told Bogman before. He had like, 2 yards. He had negative yards. Then he got knocked out of the game, and I'm like, bullshit. This sucks. And then he's back. He scores a touchdown. He rips off a big one. He's at 58 yards, and then slammy. He's got like a 9-yard carry. We're golden, and we hit that. I was very, very worried about that one. I'll be really quick on my third one because we've already talked about it. Tennessee -4. We said everything we need to. -110 I think is what it's still paying. I don't think the juice has moved or anything like that. So Tennessee -4. There's nothing else to say about it. It's a top bet this week.
I'm going to stick 3 together because they're all in the same game. So I'll give you a couple after this, Welsh, to catch up to me.
Okay.
But Green Bay -3. You guys have heard me talk about this one. I don't think I need to hit it over the head. I just think that Cincinnati hasn't beat anyone real hard. Green Bay comes in real hard, right? They're a tough team to beat. They smoked Pittsburgh last week. I think they're going to beat up Cincinnati. So -3. I think it should be a little bit more than that. I don't know if I'd go with the touchdown since they're a road team, but -3, I think it's easy. I think they got that. Over 50.5 too, because I think they're going to score in Cincinnati. We talked about the Devontae Adams mismatch. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet. That's happening this week for sure. And they have. Their defense is going to get a little exposed, Cincinnati, I think, in this one. And also, Green Bay's defense is a little bit banged up right now. They just brought in Jalen Smith for a reason. Middle linebacker's banged up. Jair Alexander trending towards not playing right now. I don't think he is. Even if he does play, it's not going to be 100%. Cincinnati is out down to Samaje Perine because Joe Mixon is out. So I think they're going to throw the ball a lot too. So that trends towards the over. But I do think Green Bay with a lead sits on it. A.J. Dillon starts running in the fourth quarter. His rushing prop is 28.5 yards. I think he can get most of that against a tired defense in the fourth quarter. We saw that exact formula against Pittsburgh last week, and I think they're going to run it right back against Cincinnati, and he goes over that. So I like a lot of Green Bay. Green Bay -3, the over 50.5, and A.J. Dillon 28.5 rush yards. The over on that. Love those.
I think
ones.
I might like all 3 of those. I'm with you. The A.J. Dillon I was looking at, that might be the riskiest of all of them, but he looks good, especially in the fourth. So you want me to rip off 3 here?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
One of my absolute favorites I put money down on. I really should have paired some of these together just for continuity. But Atlanta, New York, give me the under 45.5. Atlanta is without Calvin Ridley. They're without Russell Gage. They got Olamide. They got Kyle Pitts. They got Patterson.
Mike Davis sucks.
Still going to work. I don't expect either team. And you also got the jet lag of moving over, which could affect both sides, by the way. It could affect the defenses, so these guys are going nuts, but it also can stall out offenses. And when I look at the Jets and then losing Calvin Ridley, I tend to think that maybe the offense is the side that's going to get stalled. So 45.5 is the under there. I told you about this before. This is contrary to the money. This is my last, I think, of actual physical game ones. The rest are going to be props. I like the Panthers, but I like the Panthers money line. And I would just take a straight up win on the Panthers. No points or anything like that. There's a couple things you could do. You could obviously do with it. It's probably going to be one of the least pay ones, but I just really like it, especially if you're like me and you're just like, I need some wins. Carolina money line I would take, and then I'll give you one more to catch up. This is a player prop. Mr. James Robinson, who is probably going to be playing from behind, who has become the number one guy, finally, in this disaster of an organization, has receiving yards prop. Let me see if it has changed, as a matter of fact. But
I don't think it would have.
I don't think it would have. But,
there's been no news there.
You never know, but it's at 21. Yeah, it's still the same. 21.5 yards.
Chark is out.
You got no Chark. James Robinson has hit that twice against Houston and Arizona. He did not hit it against Cincinnati and Denver, but he had six targets, 3 targets, 6 targets, 2 targets. So if you want to play the numbers, this is another 6-target game. He has had at least 3 receptions in 3 of the 4 games, and Tennessee gives up an average of 36 receiving yards to running backs. And if he is your primary guy, friendos, that would get us over. James Robinson, 21.5 minus 115 on DK. That has changed. It was actually 110 earlier, but I really like that one.
Look, the rest of mine are props, and I don't generally like props with big numbers, which is why I like, 9.5 rushing yards for Zach Wilson. Doesn't take a lot. You can get that on one rush, right? A.J. Dillon, 28.5. Dude gets 10 carries. He's getting that. I don't know if he'll get to 10 carries, but if he does, he's getting that 28.5 without issue. So for me to take one over 50 yards is a little surprising, but I talked about him already. Damian Harris, 69.5 rushing yards. I think he wades past that. He's going to leave that in the dust. I think this is an easy number for him to hit against Houston. As he, like I said, I think he's going to get 1 million carries. So give me Damian Harris in the over 69.5 yards.
I'm sticking. I got 2 more in Atlanta. Like I said, I'm playing a lot of that. I didn't even realize how much I'm playing that.
You need to wake up now and watch this game.
Apparently I do. I might just wake up and I'll be like, I'm broke, or I'm rich. It'll be, I'm rich, bitch. I don't know which one it'll be. I got this. People heard it live on the football podcast, but we were going and Ridley was out. Or actually, I'm sorry, this was on the radio show. So no one has heard this actually when this happened. I apologize. On the radio show live, Ridley is out. I jump onto DK, and I had the receiving prop on Patterson as my pick at 31.5. I go, it's still there. I hit submit. I get a bet in. 5 seconds later, that son of a bitch is gone. They take it off, and they adjust the numbers. I don't hate the numbers that they readjusted to. It's like 5.5 more yards, and I'll still take it. So give me Cordell Patterson, 42.5 receiving yards. Give me the over on that. And if I go and take a look, I don't know what it's looking like. I think that's going to keep adjusting. Yeah, 42.5 minus 115. Still think that is a totally fine number, especially if some nuttiness happens and they're playing from behind. Patterson gets the ball. He's gone over that plenty. So Patterson receiving yards, regardless, I got it a much better number. I'll still take that number.
Look, I'm going to go to your boy Debo, and his rushing prop is 3.5 yards. They're going to run a reverse with him. I hope he gets it all on that one reverse.
They did it once last week because I had this as my prop last week. I had 2.5 yards, and he got 1 yard on a 3rd down.
I understand.
But they did do it.
But look, the reason why I'll take, if it's under 6 yards, I'll take it every single week. And the reason is because they want the ball in Debo's hands. Obviously, you've seen what he can do with the ball in his hands. He used to return kicks and punts at South Carolina. You can't really do that with him in the NFL because you don't want him getting hurt. So they'll run this reverse to get the ball in his hands. Or they might do the old backwards pass, and it counts as a rush for him anyway. So, the little screen pass.
I think you're guaranteed to get the rush.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't effective last week. That doesn't mean it's not going to be effective this week. Hopefully they move it. He's had at least 1 carry in 3 of the 4 games this year.
If Debo was on the Chargers,
he had 2.
dude.
I just want to point out he had 2 carries each in Green Bay. So he has had 5 carries on the season in 4 games.
Right. And if he played for the Chargers, he would have 15 rush attempts because they have to run the ball on a wide receiver reverse at least once a drive. I believe it's required by them. Jalen Guyton, a lot of rushes. So love that one for Debo.
I've got 2 tight end ones I'm going to give you, and then you've got 2 wide receivers, and then we'll end it with my last one. My 2 tight end bets, the final of the Atlanta games. Kyle Pitts was the biggest beneficiary as far as movement. He went from like 40-something yards up to 60. I'm not taking that anymore. But His longest reception did not move. And I kind of dig that one still at 20.5. So longest reception, 20.5, Kyle Pitts, which I believe, I forgot to pull this up here or write it down, but I want to say, I know he's hit that at least 2 of the times, but he may have hit it 3. So let me pull this up and give you the exact. For some reason, I've been very fond of Fantasy Pros' line. Yeah, he's hit that twice, Tampa Bay and the Giants. He did fail to do that. That was when he only got his 4 catches in the first game against Philly and Washington. So essentially, the East has shut him down. Well, and I guess the Giants, he had a big 25-yarder, but he had a lower game. He's going to get more targets. That's my big point. He's going to get more targets in this one. They're going to need to stretch the field. I like that. And then another easy one, Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith, receptions, 2.5. Yes, thank you very much. One of the better matchups of the week. Great value. It's minus 140. It's a little bit worse than anything else, but Jonnu, receptions 2.5. Give me that.
Look, I love DJ Moore. He's been smoking everyone.
Yeah.
5.5 receptions, little high. I'm not generally loving that number, but I mean, it's Philly. He's going to get 6 here. I think he's going to get 10 targets at least. So if he comes down with 6 of those, I'm golden. I like that one a lot. And then
and real quick, just to point out, we want to look and see like what the line is. It's minus 145, so you're getting less on it, but the confidence level of him hitting that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it might be a good, any of those like minus 140s might be good like parlay plays or whatever.
Right, exactly. And then the last one, AJ Green, over 3.5 receptions. He's becoming the number 2 in Arizona, right? So Kirk has been pushed to the side. Rondell Moore had the one big game and hasn't really had much after that. They're throwing the ball to Max Williams more and to the backs a little bit more and running a little bit more as well. So AJ Green is becoming that second guy. I think he gets 4 catches here. It might be for 28 yards, but I don't give a shit. Four catches. That's all I care about. Let's go.
Give me. My last one, my final one. Bogman mentioned it. The Chargers are 30th in the NFL in yards per carry. Cleveland is coming in, and Kareem Hunt is sitting at 45.5 yards.
Even lower than what I thought it was at. I thought it was 48.5.
Yeah, that's where it's currently sitting, 45.5 yards, which he has hit in 3 of the 4 games this season, and the last 3. He's hit that. He's had double-digit carries. The only time he didn't hit it was when he had 6 carries, which, by the way, was the second highest yards per attempt when he was against Kansas City. He only got 6 carries, but he averaged 5.5 yards per carry. He got 13 against Houston, 10 against Chicago, and he got 14 against Minnesota. Chargers, bad. Kareem Hunt, good. That's a top-tier bet. That is near a top-tier bet. And those, friendos, are our top 10 bets for Week 5. Final up. Little tiny look at DFS.
The In This League Podcast Network.
If you want to play some DFS, here's some guys that we like. Speaking of last week, by the way, our best calls, Bogman, you had Matt Ryan, which was a fantastic call. Obviously, that was a good call on your part. And you had Dalton Schultz, which paid off, was a huge payoff. I can't even imagine.
They keep throwing the ball to him in the red zone, man.
Yeah.
I like him every week.
He was cheap.
But his price is moving up. Yeah, his price is moving up now.
Well, ironically, we were both great on the tight end because my call, probably one of my best of the year, Dawson Knox, who had the 2 touchdowns. That was a huge, huge one. My other one, Debo. We're jumping back on Debo. Debo has consistently paid off. Those are probably 2 of the best ones. You have got your FanDuel DFS, or I'm sorry, your DraftKings DFS plays, which you go values. I've got my FanDuel ones, which are some high dollar guys and some value plays. So why don't you run us through what you like on DK?
FanDuel's way more restricting, so you kind of have to get both. But for me, quarterback, Trey Lance, $5,700. Obviously, Jimmy G is, as you're listening to this, they're going to find out today if he can play. He hasn't been able to throw off of his leg, plant and throw all through the week. I don't know that that's going to change on Friday. I highly doubt it. So I think Trey Lance gets his start. I think they're playing catch up against Arizona. Plus, he's got the wheels and he's cheap. Love Trey Lance against the Cardinals this week.
I like that. Keep going. Do
all of them. Okay.
Yeah. Do them all.
My running back, Damian Harris. I mean, how many times do I have to mention, man? He's $5,500 this week. He is not expensive on DK at all. The only issue I have with this play is that I feel like he's going to be high ownership because he's so cheap and it's against the Texans. But maybe people aren't thinking like I'm
Hey
thinking.
man,
So
pretty good in an ITL, an ITL peeps one. I told you your 9,000 Derrick Henry and your 5,000 Damian Harris. Those are good plays together.
a CB versus wide receiver matchup I mentioned before. AB against Justin Coleman. AB is $5,200. Love him against the Dolphins. I think he smokes them. And my tight end, just for the, let's just see if you can save some Chengle Chang and put it on somebody else.
Saving Chengle Chang.
$2,500 for Ricky Seals Jones, who's now the number one with Logan Thomas out for Washington. We saw Heineke throw it to him a couple times. Went to McKissick more. So I do think that McKissick is going to be more involved, but Ricky Seals Jones is going to be on the field more. So I think he gets a couple opportunities. And for $2,500, you just hope he gets in the end zone.
FanDuel, if I'm playing the high dollar, Kyler Murray. We talked about in our top plays, we had Michael Beller from The Athletic on. We talked about, who's the number one quarterback. The kind of agreement across the board was Kyler Murray is going up against San Francisco. Secondary is still piss poor. The defensive line is going to be really good, and it's going to make him suffer maybe a little bit, but at the same time, he can do it with his legs. So he is an easy top dollar play if you want to build around that. If you want to go lower, Boggs, I mean, I've seen, some algorithms like the value on it. Trevor Lawrence, 6,500 on FanDuel. If they're playing from behind, I got my receiving prop on James Robinson. I don't know how much they're going to be able to run in this game, and they may start having to fling the ball. Atlanta's defense, not great.
Yeah.
Or not Atlanta.
Tennessee.
What am I thinking of? Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee, really, really not great at all, and they're going to be able to fling the ball, and it might be second
They need
half.
to let him run, man. I
loved his rushing prop this week. It was at 18 early, and it's moved up to 22.5, which still is good. He hit that last week, but it's
they need to let him run.
That was the impetus of what happened last week, as they said,
Right.
we're going to let him run more. That's why that prop looked so good, and he smashed it. He smashed it in the second quarter last week.
Well, remember, I said he's going to have 750 rushing yards. He ain't doing shit so far. So let the dude run. He can run. Let him do it.
Yeah, so Trevor Lawrence, just another. Actually, it's kind of like the cheap man's Kyler Murray play, where you might get a rushing touchdown in there, you might get a couple late passing ones. The pick is what I'd worry about, but Tennessee's pass defense is just garbage, and that's kind of the big play there. Running backs, if you're going high dollar, Dalvin Cook has got the matchup of the century this week. As long as they, he's a little, coming back, being banged up, coming back last week. As long as they're comfortable just giving him the rock, he's going to go for 150. I mean, it's the matchup of matchups, but you got to pay for him. Same thing as Derrick Henry. If you want to play the low side, the only problem is he might be heavily played, but only 5,800 for Damian Williams. And Damian Williams, it's a decent matchup. They're going to do what they did with David Montgomery with Damian Williams for the most part. And, they might get creative with Justin Fields as well. They need to have that protection. Damian Williams also good out of the backfield as far as catching the ball. So I don't mind Damian Williams. On the receiver front, I didn't pick like the top dollar, but my two favorites are in the 7,000s. DJ Moore, like you talked about, and Debo. I would just keep going down the well for Debo. And Debo has got the Cardinals. He's going to get open. They're going to sling the ball, especially if they are forced into it. And Trey Lance, even though he throws garbage passes, he still targeted Debo. They're 2 touchdowns to Debo. So Debo and DJ Moore are must. If you want to play it cheaper, friends, I love Hunter Renfrow, who's only 5,800. So if you want to play the under 6,000 marker, he's been targeted 6 times in the last 3 games. Chicago is ranked 30th, allowing just over a touchdown and a half to wide receivers in the last 9 games. Love Hunter Renfrow. And finally, from a tight end perspective, give me Jonnu. I mean, I talked about Jonnu before. I think that would be my big play this week. I also, and what was, I wrote it down, and 4,900 for Jonnu. Also like Tyler Conklin, who's had a bunch of targets as well. I think he's even maybe a little bit cheaper. And those friends would be the DFS plays for this week.
We did it.
So like dealer, just do that. Our hands are up. We're finished. Go to inthisleague.com if you want to join up on the Patreon. We got a betting room that's in there. A bunch of smart dudes. You can see what everybody's betting and sharing and all that good information. We've got lots of other rooms in different sports. We have got live streams. We got my prop bet sheet. We've got Bogman's ranks for the week. You get access to us. Comedy Secret Show. We're doing one. We haven't done one in a while, and it's coming up this week. And all the other stuff. So come and check us out. inthisleague.com. Support your boys. Got the Twitch channel. We are affiliates now. We got some cool stuff in store, playing some crazy games. You can go back and watch some of the last week's one. The last one we did was nutty, and we're just trying to do a bunch of fun stuff. Have so much fun. Maybe make some money, and hopefully keep it over 500. Fade or play, that is your choice, friends. But it is Bet This League. That's Bogman at Bogman Sports. I am The Welsh at Is It The Welsh. We're out of here, friends. Bye, Bogman.
See ya.